Hello and welcome back to the Wisdom of Odin. Today I want to talk about this funny little word right here, and it's pronounced, as far as I could tell, as fylgja. And fylgja is a very complicated subject, so bear with me as I try to describe it in this video. However, I did not want to do it alone, so I invited Darius, a close friend of mine and also leader within the Fellowship of Northern Traditions, who knows much more about fylgja, to talk about it with me today.
Hi, my name is Darius. I'm a Norse Pagan. I've been a Norse Pagan for 4.5, almost 5 years now. It's been a very fun and kind of humbling journey. I've been doing fylgja work and spirit animal work for 6 to 8 years now. It started long before my fylgja practice in Norse Paganism, but it's helped me. It gave me the good stepping stone I needed to get the paganism journey started. I've just enjoyed every single minute of it. Just accepting nature and the animal spirits for what they are is amazing. And then the gods themselves are another thing to behold. And it's truly humbled me and made me a better person and a better man than I was 5-6 years ago.
Now, the first thing I want to talk a little bit more on is the difference between these terms, because that is one of the more complicated things to really get into, because the actual term of fylgja is a very lightly researched term, and there's not a lot of information out there about it. However, the terms around fylgja have a lot more information, so a lot of the times you're going to find information on terms such as spirit guides, or spirit animals, or within core shamanism, they're called power animals.
The best way to describe a fylgja is to think of a spirit animal or power animal within Native American beliefs. The animal is a part of your spirit. It's part of your being. It's not as simple as like, oh, this represents me. That's more of a totem animal that you will find for most Native American clans, but that encompasses the entire clan for leadership and guidance and strength in times of need. The fylgja has a more direct correlation to you as a person, both spiritually and just out in everyday life. So one way I go about telling people is, if you get sick, your fylgja gets sick in the spirit world. You get hurt, it gets hurt, vice versa. You don't treat it well, it's not going to treat you well. It's a very deep spiritual connection to you and your entire being.
So from everything I can tell, fylgja translates or means to accompany with or after birth. And this seems to lead to the idea that fylgja are assigned to you at birth. A fylgja chooses to be part of you because a fylgja is the part of the soul. So in the idea of finding your fylgja, the fylgja never was gone or disappeared. It just simply was always a part of your life, and maybe you're not able to experience it or see it. But in the Norse concept of spirit animals or power animals, fylgja are assigned at birth. Now, what can you actually do with a spirit guide or fylgja, which hopefully you understand this is going to be a very interchangeable term, but what can you do with them? Now, they are a very shamanic-based thing within shamanic practices that everyone in theory can work with. However, working with them definitely dabbles a little bit more into the mysticism, spiritual aspect of connecting with the gods. And so I don't think they're going to be something for everybody, because I don't think everyone wants to dive this deeply or get this connected to the ethereal that isn't so grounded in reality. Because to really understand fylgja and spirit guides, you have to understand the spirit realm and understand that there's a spirit realm that runs alongside of ours, which makes sense within the Norse concept because we have concepts such as Yggdrasil and the 9 realms. And so in theory, we are connecting with Yggdrasil, and our fylgja exists within Yggdrasil, within the realms of the gods and the spirits. And so connecting with them is transcending the realms. And so again, I don't think these are concepts that everyone's are going to attach to, and that's perfectly okay. This is not something you have to attach with in order to be a Norse pagan or a pagan or any form of, alternative spirituality. It's just something that will allow you to connect deeper with the spirit realm.
So a good way for a modern Norse pagan to connect with their fylgja would be a good and tried and true practice would be trance with drums. If you don't have a drum, you could easily do very much so like shamanic playlists you can find on Spotify. There's many artists out there that do that type of work. Meditation's a good one, but you really have to stick with it. It's not something that will come not even within the first 6 months of you practicing. It's something you really have to work at. Historically, it would be, especially with the Native American people, it would be very much drum circles. You'd have a very specific and high-ranking shaman go through and take you through that ceremony. Historically, for Norse pagans or just Norse society, they would have a very specific ritual for maybe groups of people, much like the Ulfhednar or the Berserkir, and it would help kind of lay their path out and guide it. But it was very much a guided practice from a very spiritual person within the community. Most people nowadays, much like myself, did it through trance meditation, that you can find sources all over internet. There's hundreds of books out there you can use to help find your fylgja. One book that I find really good, it covers both the shamanic side and just general power animal or spirit animal knowledge, is The Shaman's Guide to Power Animals by Laurie Morrison. It goes over the basics of shamanism, where you need to start, the different shamanic elements, the difference between totem animals, spirit animals, your personal power animal, and your shadow power animal. That one I will not get into in this video. That's a deep and dark subject. But there are plenty other books out there by other people that describe spirit animals and just describe the spirit animal alone. This book does a great job at telling you what the shamanic or spiritual side of that animal is, not just the rough, basic, generic stuff you can find online for your horoscope.
Now, outside of that book that Darius recommended, I have talked about books for shamanic practice before, and you can find those within my introduction into shamanism. However, my favorite books have been written by Evelyn Rydike because she actually writes from a Norse perspective. And so she has a book called Norse Shaman, but also a book called Spirit Walking that talk about these things as well. And then, of course, Michael Harner's works are really good places to start, but there are many books out there talking about spirit animals and shamanic practices globally. Now, okay, let's talk more about what you can actually do with the spirit animals. All right, keep on dancing around this. There's so much to actually talk about around this subject. So what can you do with them? Well, connecting with your spirit animal is connecting with a part of the self and the idea of the fylgja. And so a spirit animal can be something that, connects to you as a person. So my personal spirit guide, my personal fylgja, is a turkey. And the first time I found out, I'm like, damn, I really wish it was a wolf or something way cooler than a turkey. And I think this is a very common experience as people want it to be something more badass. But oftentimes we find out that these spirit animals and guides are something that are more connected to yourself. And so a turkey makes sense for me because a turkey symbolizes family, community, abundance, and all of these things. And so the formation of the Fellowship of Northern Traditions and my love of the Hobbit life and warm, cozy fires and all these things makes sense. A wolf really wouldn't make sense for me because I'm not a wolf. I'm not a warrior. I am a person that loves good food, conversation, my friends and family, so a turkey makes perfectly good sense. And so connecting more with this fylgja, with this animal, has made me more connected to these ideas and who I'm meant to be. And so when you find your fylgja and your spirit animal, you're going to be more connected to who you are as a person. Now, working with them within ritual is definitely a very shamanic thing, and you're going to connect with them more if you do drum trances or go and travel the world tree, the spirit world, and you're going to call upon your fylgja to guide you. And so those are things that are very hard and not very concrete that I can talk about in one video. However, if you are getting into shamanic practices, a fylgja or spirit animal is pretty essential to navigating through trance work.
All right, so one of the things that I personally love to do with my fylgja is when I go on a hike like this, I like to really connect to the land so that my fylgja can feel that energy recharge to help me through those difficult times, because your fylgja will help you through very difficult times with you personally and spiritually. So if you're experiencing a spiritual deficit, having that it's weird, the power bank, I guess, to call on your fylgja and help you recharge, to remember these times, these places, the energy of the land, the spirits of the animals around you, is a really good way to use your spirit animal. Another really good way that I haven't touched on a whole lot myself would be realm travel. That is a really good one. Your fylgja will help you out immensely there, along with other spirit animals you may pick up along the way.
So shape-shifting is the main component of fylgja or spirit animal work, of asking the spirit animal, of asking your fylgja to combine with you in this physical world of ours and see through your eyes and absorb more of their aspects. And again, more prominent within spirit working, within spirit travel and realm travel. And so this is something I do within my spirit traveling like rituals. I don't do these all the time. Not all my rituals are realm traveling experiences, but recently I did this in Canada, where I did a shamanic trance with a drum, and I had my, my headdress that had turkey feathers on it, and I called to my turkey spirit to help guide me and the others through the spirit travels. Through Yggdrasil, as we gave offerings to various deities in the 9 realms. And so with your own personal work, if you're sitting at your altar, you can do this. This is where I found my fylgja, is at my altar space. Is if you're sitting at your altar space, calling to your fylgja and asking them to help guide you through these rituals, or help enhance your rituals, is a really good place to start. But the best answer I can give in a video where you can start right away is simply practice meditation and then move that further into trance work with drums, and actually trying to move your mind somewhere else, or remove your soul and travel the spirit realms. And the first thing that you often learn in the books is how to find your spirit guide. So purchasing the books, finding out how other people have found their spirit animal. It can be done privately and alone, or you can find groups that have these moments as well. Now, I do want to add here, historically, one of the things we can say about fylgja and the Norse concept is, since we do have the idea of fylgja over here, we also have the idea of berserkers and Ulfhednar over here, and so them shape-shifting into these animal forms, we can kind of look at the connections between those concepts and say, okay, the Ulfhednar, the berserkers, were working with their fylgja, who were bear, who were wolves, and were shape-shifting to become more warrior-like, and so perhaps this is an idea, but we don't have that bridge between those two concepts of fylgja and the berserkers and whatnot, because there's just so little information about fylgja and so little information about Ulfhednar and berserkers that we really can't say 100%. However, there does seem to be a connection between those two concepts historically. I guess the last thing I will add in this video is that, again, this is not something that everyone has to do, but it is something that can enhance your practice. And if you're wanting to do it, it's pretty easy to get into it, but understand that this is a much researched and highly debated topic still to this day. This video was very complicated to put together because I made sure I got someone to talk about it with me, with Darius. So I thank him for coming out here to film this video with me. So truly, Darius, thank you for coming out here to film this video with me and answer some of these questions on how to get into fylgja work.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed the content. Fylgja work is amazing. If you have any other questions for me, you can find me over at Instagram at ulferspeaking. I also work with Fellowship of Northern Traditions over on the West Coast region, so feel free to reach out. We're always hosting gatherings, and I hope to see you guys around. Good luck on the path.
So with everything in this channel and everything I talk about, make sure you do your own research. Make sure this video is not the only thing you look into. Find these books, find other books, find information globally, and ask questions down below. Perhaps Darius and I can get back to you if we have the answers. And this is something I'm not an expert in. This is something that Darius is not an expert in. We're all trying to figuring out this patchwork quilt of information that our ancestors figured out thousands of years ago and came up with these terms such as fylgja, or totem animals that are tied to yourself. So definitely take your time, try not to jump into it right away, find information, and I hope you find your fylgja as well. Thank you so very much for joining me for this video. Thank you once again to Darius, and I hope this information was helpful to you. And until the hall, Skull.